All right, some people asked about running GTK from the Windows Subsystem for Linux, and it will work. It's almost identical. The way the code is the same. There's some different installation and so forth. First of all, you've got to install the Windows Subsystem for Linux, and I am in docs.microsoft.com/en-us/windows/install-win10. Just looking up WSL will probably do it. Anyway, these are the instructions. They're fairly straightforward. First of all, you've got to run a PowerShell and enable it. I don't know exactly what they're doing here, but running the PowerShell down here, I'm not going to do it. Running it as an administrator, of course. PowerShell is admin, and you get something like that. I don't know if that showed up on my OBS recording, but yeah, this is where you're going to do it. And you can cut and paste here. Cut and paste this over there, and it should work. I hope it doesn't start. No, that's something else. It didn't cut. Let's try it again. Capture and paste. Yeah, there it is. I'm not going to do it because it will, after it does it, it requires a reboot, and obviously I don't want to do that. Anyway, I've already done it. So it's up and running on my machine, does not need to go any further. All right, once you've done that, then you get to pick your distro, and you can go into the Microsoft Store, which is, of course, on your machine down here someplace, Microsoft Store. You can click on it. I'm not going to because the page has an example. And there are several different flavors of Linux to get. I got Ubuntu. It's the one I'm most familiar with, and it is a pretty good distribution. It's got a lot of the so-called proprietary stuff already built in, like, well, I'm just saying video and audio players, but there's no audio in Ubuntu because there's no pulse audio. You have to go through the Windows audio, which is not enabled as of yet. But anyway, Ubuntu. There's others here which you may want to play with. Debian, of course, is what's underneath Ubuntu. Debian is the base, but Debian leaves a lot of things out. Which one to choose? 1804. The Ubuntu numbering system is the first 2 digits of the year, the second 2 digits of the month, and LTS means long-term support. So 1804 is 2018 April, and long-term support means it'll be supported, I think, for 5 years, something like that. 1604 would be an older version. There is no 1904 apparently yet. So that would have, of course, been this year's LTS. You can get the others. They operate differently, but Ubuntu is a GNOME-based system. Some of these others are not. All right, so once you've got that, it will start in the store. You can tell it to download wherever it is on here. I guess it is doing it or something in this picture they've got. You download it. It takes a while. It starts installing it, and then once it installs, you want to launch it. There'll be a button there that says launch. Launch it, and it'll come up, and it'll ask you for a username and password. And the username and password will be used as they're not exactly root password, but it can be used to gain root access. So I would give your whatever name you want to give. I am not too fussy about passwords on semi-virtual systems because in order to get the virtuals to the virtual system, they're already taken over your regular system. So I don't do exotic passwords with layered systems on top of the real system. So if somebody is trying to get into your Ubuntu, it means they're already on your Windows 10 system. So anyway, take that as needed. I use very simple passwords for these systems. And that password will be used to do root activities, even though it is not the root password. It is the password for sudo, if you know what I mean, if you've done Linux, but it is not the root password. You can use it to create and change the root password. But all right, the next thing is you need to initialize the distro, and which means after it's done its launch thing and everything else, shut it down, and then start it up. Here they're showing it as a tile. Otherwise, it'll be in your menu. In my case here, mine is a prettier menu. It's down here someplace. I don't know where it is. It's in my there it is down here. I've also got it as a tile, so and I've also dragged it up onto the screen here. But anyway, you want to run it, and then you want to do the updates. What you're getting is the baseline system, and you need to do the updates that have occurred since the baseline system was created. And the command, once you bring it up, you're in Bash. This is a command to do it. That's actually two commands, apt update, and the second command is apt upgrade. The sudo in each case tells the system to do it as root, super user. So when you do a sudo, it asks for your password. The double ampersand in between is an and sign in Bash. And what it basically means is if the first part fails, it won't do the second part. If the first part succeeds, which it normally does, it will go ahead and do the second part. You can break these into two separate lines, forget the ampersands. So you just say apt sudo apt update carriage return, and then it will ask you for a password, and it'll sit there. What it's doing is it's updating the tables of what you've got and what is out there that's available. That's newer, and once those tables are updated, then you can do the upgrade. The upgrade will use those tables and go out and fetch the more recent version of the software that you need. So the second line would be, after that's finished, is sudo apt upgrade. Again, you'll be asked for the password. And it will take quite a long time, depending upon how fast your disk drive is. If your disk drive is slow like mine, it'll take a while. And also, of course, there's going to be a lot of internet activity. So that will upgrade the basic system. And there's a lot of stuff that doesn't come down with it that you're going to need. And they go on to talk about other things, and they mention several troubleshooting, one of which is this will put everything on your C drive, and you have to have it on your C drive. You cannot put this onto a secondary drive, they tell me. All right, someone's going to ask about WSL 2. It's only available if you've got, if you're a build higher than 18917, and mine is nowhere near that, although my system is up to date. You apparently have to be in the Windows Insider program to use this. It's otherwise the same in terms of installing it, but there is WSL2, and if you're in the Windows Insider program, maybe you want to try that. I am not, so I don't. Initialization, it goes, yeah, this is what I just mentioned here in terms of the initialization. Okay, now we have got we've got Ubuntu, and I'll just click it here, get this off the screen, and you see what it comes up like. Again, as I mentioned in the other video, you may want to play around with the fonts to get them a little more bigger. Can't believe that's 16-point font, but it's saying it is. But anyway, I'm not going to do it right now. But you can play around with the fonts and the terminals and the options like Control-Shift-C and V as copy-paste, which is normal for Linux. So you may want to enable that. That is one you probably do want to enable. All right, so you're up there, and there it is. It's actually running ls. It's I hate the colors, but they come with colors. There's ways to get rid of them. The VI is here. Yeah, I didn't actually edit anything there. And you can see some directories. One thing that comes up almost immediately is, where is this? Where is this actually located on your computer? And they make it somewhat difficult to find, but here it is. I actually have a link on my desktop to it because it is so, because sometimes you want to go down there and see what's there. This is it. And I'm clicking on that. Can I make this bigger? Yeah. This is where it's located. It's in C, users, user. That's my user ID is user, okay? Users, and then my user ID is user. Yours will be whatever your name is on your computer. App data. In order to get down here, you'll have to enable enable the directory. If you want to go drill down with the File Explorer, these are hidden files. So you have to turn on hidden files so they're visible. But you don't if you go in like this. But if you want to have drill down and find out exactly where it is, enable hidden files. User, app data, local, packages, canonical group limited.ubuntu 1804 on Windows _ 79 RHKP1 FNDGSC / local state / rootfs / home / Ocane. My username is Ocane in Ubuntu. Okay, so it is a very long path description. So I just captured it and made it a shortcut on my desktop so I can go down here and look at stuff. And this is what it sees down there. This is what the File Explorer sees. Don't modify things down here. But Ubuntu gets very upset when it doesn't recognize, you get into this Windows protection racket, and I wouldn't fool about anything. Don't try moving stuff in here. Ubuntu won't recognize it. Don't ask me why. I'm not a Windows expert. If you want to move stuff in to this directory, okay, you see where I am, you can copy it in from the outside world or copy from here to the outside world. Is there anything up there? Yeah, part1.bin, I was trying something, it failed. It's a file, it's executable. So if I say cp /mnt/c, notice now it's going to be case sensitive. User starts with a capital U. I'm hitting tab. It's pretty standard in Linux. When you hit, if you've typed enough letters to uniquely, define what it is, hitting tab, it will fill in the rest of the spelling. My name is user, capital U, and desktop. If I just said D, it wouldn't work because there's also downloads at this level, but DE, it's unique. And the thing I want is part1 -bin, and I want to move it here, okay? Dot means the current directory. You could rename it in the process. So it's copying from to. The first operand is the from. The second operand is the to. If you're copying a directory, right after the CP space -r space, you can put a -r, which is a parameter that tells it to copy recursively. And it copies it down, and now if you see I do an ls, it's here, isn't it? Yeah, there it is. So yeah, that copies from this world to the outside world, from the outside world. Now reverse the process to copy something else. Just reverse the operands. So the first operand is inside the Ubuntu. The second operand is on your desktop or wherever you're copying it to. So don't dot is a target. It's not a source. Well, technically it could be a source, but it's a whole. If it's a source, then it's a directory. It's the current directory. But anyway, so that allows you to copy stuff in and out. All right, that's nice, but it's just basically a text-based system. It does not have X windows. So, but I do have X windows, as you can see up there. I go back up here, and you need to go and get VcXsrv from SourceForge. It seems to be reliable. It's an open source product. It's been around for a while. I always worry about bringing down executables, but you could bring it down and recompile it. It is compilable under Visual C++ 2012 Express Edition. I assume it's can be compiled with things more recent as well. But anyway, the downloads are here. I have downloaded it, run it, install it, and you will get a icon on the desktop. It also mentions putting it in the documentation, putting the launch of this into the Windows Start menu, so that when your Windows powers up, it automatically launches it. I have not, so it means every time I start Windows 10 and I want to use it, I have to launch it manually. I think once I've launched it for a session, it stays launched. Let's see, let's go down to part 7 and find out, because this is, I just restarted Ubuntu, and this is the thing we're going to be running, and it is part1 spell part1 bin, /. You can eliminate the /, but /, notice they're all forward slashes. The / means in the current directory, and that's the default. I hit caps lock, and anything going to work here? Okay. I'm hitting tabs in there, and yeah, it works. So one launch is enough. Anyway, when you launch it, It will go through a series of questions, multiple windows as opposed to a big giant window. I've only tried the multiple windows. You can fool around with it as you want. Start with no client. It'll just start the server. I just took the defaults and saved the configuration, and it's already down here, so I'll cancel that, and I'll just say finish. All right, so it's already it's running, and it's ready to handle XServer type requests from Ubuntu. XServer is X is the windowing system, the low-level windowing system in Linux. And in order to display things on the screen from Ubuntu, you're going to need the windowing system. And that's the windowing system. All right, now this is the code I did in the other video. It is the, now I'm in, I could go back out to this guy out here and bring up Notepad, but it's probably safer to do it this way, which means you're going to have to learn one of the editors. I use VI. There should also be Nano. It's an awful editor, but it's simple. Yeah, it's a much more text-oriented editor with the same hideous colors. How do I get out of it? It's control characters. It's control X gets me out. I didn't change anything, so I won't complain. I'm hitting up arrows. You can recall previous commands by hitting up arrows. Where's my VI? I lost it. I must hit control. I hit Control C. And the code is, oh wow. Code is the love these colors. The code is the same as the other day. These gmodule export for each of the signal handling callback routines, and this is the same as I did in the other one, and it will work. This is you don't want this in, if you're going to do it in regular Linux. I don't know if I remove these. No, you have to have these because it's still using the Windows linker. If you're running under regular Linux, these they don't cause a problem per se, but you probably just eliminate them because it does its own stuff. It'll complain about them. Okay, and to compile them, it's the same compile script as before. Sorry for the colors. But anyway, it's the same compile script. Let me, maybe Nano would bring up something better. Little bit easier to read. The only difference between this and the regular is you don't have the export dynamic, -export dynamic at the end. Again, this is using the Windows 10 linking environment, so that goes away. Therefore, you need those headers for the function calls in the source code. But there it is. Now it works here. Whoops, I forgot I'm in Nano. No, I don't want to save and modify it because I forget about it. Nano is you type and it modifies. I started to execute VI commands. That's why I keep forgetting when I'm in another editor. I start using VI commands. All right, so the compile /compile. You can get rid of the / by adding current directory to the path, and that's in .bashrc. All right, we're ready to go here, and let's see. You saw it run. Whoops, again, /part1-bin exe. There is a without the exe. That's the one that was actually compiled under real Linux, and get some minor error messages. But yeah, everything seems to work. Toggle button toggles. Spin button spins. That button detects the spin button on/off switch, and the combo box that actually generates a message. It's deliberate. The radio buttons work, and the check button works. So yeah, everything works. You cannot take this file and put it up in regular Windows, because in the environment it's running, when it runs, it gains access to the DLLs. They're not really DLLs. They're well, they are DLLs, but they're part of the Linux hierarchy. and that hierarchy is not present if you're trying to run it. That's what I did here. I brought it out here, and if you try to run it, it starts up, you get the nice little error message, and it gives an unspecified error. The error is it's not loading the DLLs that it needs. So yes, within you can start it up from within Ubuntu, but thereafter you can't. Now there's the problem of the Ubuntu system as you get it does not have, it probably does not have all of the libraries that you need to run this. Now I go back up. CD just takes you to your home directory. You can see I've got some other stuff in here like a pulse VU meter. And you can get this from my website. There's a bunch of stuff out there. And my website is it's cs.uni.edu/squiggle-ocane. And if you go to Pocket Radio, you'll see there's some stuff down here. Any one of them, but this is a small one. Get this, audiometer.source.tgz, and it will download it onto your machine into your download directories, and then you'll have to copy it in using the copy procedure I mentioned before. Once it's in there, okay, I'm already here. Then you can see it is here, audiometers-source.1.tgz. You have to decompress it, which is tar xvzf audiometer. Okay, I'm not going to do it because it'll overwrite the stuff that's already down there. It'll create the directory pulse audio. All right. Yeah, the name at the high level is audiometer, but when the directory is created, it'll be pulse audio. So I don't want to do this. Control C. Come on. I don't want to do it because it'll screw things up. That being the case, once you've got pulse audio, no, excuse me, it's pulse VU meter. I don't know what pulse audio I think is. Let me see what ls-l. What are things? That's a directory. Yeah. What's a VU meter? Oh, that's when I was trying to download Pulse Audio the other day. I couldn't get Pulse Audio to work. Some people say there's a workaround that you can make Pulse Audio work in the WSL, but I couldn't get it to work. It's not supposed to work. It's not supported. Yeah, the directory you want to get into is Pulse VU meter. You won't have Pulse Audio. CD Pulse. And you see down here is a bunch of stuff, one of which is general install.script. Oh, there's ways of getting rid of these colors, I'm sure. VI has this. I don't know why people think that's cute. I really don't. Let me see if I can change the background colors. Oh, they have some default colors here. Opacity, you know, they've got way too much time. Screen background, what do I want to make it so that I would make that stand out? How about a sort of a dark gray? I don't know if that's really helped. It might help here. Yeah, it's a little bit better. I'm sorry. But what this is a large script file, and it contains an awful lot of these apt-get commands. Apt and apt-get are the same. It used to be everything was apt-get install, and then you name the product. The dash get's gone, so nowadays you'll see it mainly as just plain apt. The dash yes means don't ask me any questions. Apt tends to say, do you really want to do this? It's going to use some disk space and so on and so forth. So the dash yes says just do it. This is pulling down a lot of stuff, some of which you don't need, but some of which you do, like the GTK libraries. So I don't know exactly. I should probably go through here. It's kind of pulse audio because it's not going to work. GCC you obviously need. It brings down G++, although I'm not using it anywhere. The GTK MM you do need. GTK MM 3.0, I don't know which is the difference. There's a lot of this stuff here. If you just run this, I don't know what you'd have to pull out to make just the base product work, just to get GTK to work. Obviously, the GTK looking ones and the GDK, if they're in there, and the GCC. And I don't believe I use any G++, C++. But the GTK, you might just try doing those manually. You can strip the file, or you can just run the whole file, and it'll sit there and just download stuff. And I don't know how much stuff it downloaded altogether. I'm back in the directory here, and if I go to rootfs, home is where my stuff is. Let's see what it says for properties. For properties, it's 288 megabytes. I don't know why that's so big in the home directory, but seems large. But that's, no, the home directory. Let me go see what the whole thing is. Rootfs. Okay. Local state. Rootfs is the whole thing. That's where everything is. It's pretty big. It's because it's got all of Ubuntu in it, and you can see it's going to become a couple of gig, but it's Ubuntu, and you know, a lot of stuff I've added into it that you need. So it's not tiny. Wait for it to. Okay, 2.66 gigabytes. How much of that is you don't really need? I don't know. I hadn't really tried it. I'd have to uninstall a pile of stuff to find out, and I'm not going to. But anyway, once you've done that, then the compiles will proceed. If you try to compile and run without the libraries, it isn't going to work. So you need the GTK libraries and the GTK MM libraries, and I believe you need the GDK libraries and all that stuff. A lot of stuff really does work, though. Pulse didn't. That was a disappointment. In this area here, I do have the VU meter actually running, I think. Let me go back and change the colors. Try another set of colors here. See what that's working. Oh, that's not too bad. Yes, it is. Blue against blue. It's perfect. Don't I have... no, there's no EXE here. Where's the EXE? Did I move it up above? Don't know where it is. Because I did have it working. I know where I put it though. Let's see. It's compiled pretty fast actually. There's a lot of code there. And it should be ls, and it is. I guess we're not generating exe files down here. I don't see any exe file. It's vumeter.bin -bin. There it is, and it's running in the X window thing. This is an audio meter. It's supposed to be an audio meter. All the graphics is actually working. But the problem is there's no pulse audio, so it's not getting any signal. The thing that was interesting to me is it's set up for random colors. So it's supposed to be a bar graph here that's zigzagging back and forth with for the sound levels. And one thing I was wondering about is the graphics package is Cairo. That's another one of these packages you got to have installed. When I click random colors, there's actually 100 slots across here, and it would be displaying a graph for left and right. Right is on the top, left is on the bottom, and it would randomly change the colors of aspects of the graph. When it's running, you can actually see it on the midpoint line. You can see that there's something going on. And what's going on is that's the random number generator selecting different colors. You really don't see them because it's really not generating any bars, but it's showing up as on the graph. So that means the whole Cairo thing is completely working. Which means if you go back to the video on how to draw and how to use Cairo, it should all work here. But there is no pulse audio. I have not been able to get one to work, so that may or may not be an issue. But this is using it with the WSL, with Ubuntu, with the hideous colors. Let's see. In your main directory, I probably shouldn't fool here because I haven't tested this out. ls-a. You can see those hidden files .bashrc. See what's in .bashrc. Oh, that's even worse. Let me see. Sorry about this. I didn't do the colors. Don't blame me. How about brown? No, it's not really brown, but that didn't help. I don't know what colors to go to. There's no way of turning off colors is the problem. What I really want is it's a dark gray. Let's play that game. Let's look for color. Yeah, I don't like the way this editor works either, because it's I don't know what this is supposed to be. But this is where you would kill it probably. This is where the color prompts are coming from. Color prompt equals yes. Let me just try putting color prompt equals. I don't even know what line I'm on with this thing. Okay. Color prompt empty. Let's see. I'd have to log out. Control exit or Control D gets you out. Let's start it up again. See if they got rid of them. But that's one of the places where you do go to get rid of them. Well, yeah, looks like I did up to a point. Well, that's different. Let me see. What was it? Vi dot bash. Nah, didn't work. Anyway, there's another place in /etc or /etc, which also controls color. But I'm sorry, colors are what they like to do. Again, too many people are spending too much time in a dark basement. All right, so yes, it does work in the Windows layer environment. And the code is the same. There's no difference in the C code. It works the same as it did in the other environment. So although this produces executables that are more suitable. So anyway, I'll leave it at that.